Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to Jets Media. This is Richie, and in this video, I want to go over my biggest takeaways from last night's game from the New York Jets against the Indianapolis Colts. Also go over some things that I'm taking away from this entire season, give you guys my overall thoughts, because now we got 9 or 10 days until we go up against the Buffalo Bills, and we're coming off a very disappointing performance on primetime football against the Indianapolis Colts. The defense got absolutely destroyed. In this video, I want to go over some positives, some negatives to take away from what's going on with this Jets team. So before I hop into the video, I just want to mention, if you guys are new to Jets Media, please make sure you smash that subscribe button. And if you want to check me out over on Instagram and Twitter, that is at nyjets_media. And if you enjoy the video, please do not forget to thumbs it up. With that being said, let's get right into the video. So first off, shout out to everybody that was in my live stream last night during the game. I had a lot of fun, and I appreciate all the support on Jets Media. It means a lot to me that you guys come through in the live streams. You have fun in the chat. We watch the game together, even if it's a good game or bad game. You guys give me so much support, and it means a lot to me. I definitely want to say that before we get into the video. So we're going to start off with the negatives, because that's definitely the biggest thing. The New York Jets, they're 2-6, and there's a lot of things that need to be worked on so far in this season. So first and foremost, the defense has been a very big disappointment in the last 4 games. Not only last night did the Jets defense look absolutely atrocious, but it's been a 4-game situation. If you date back to the Atlanta Falcons game, that was the first time where this defense really took a step back, and Matt Ryan was just absolutely destroying us, if you guys remember that London game. And then we have our bye, and then after our bye week, we go up against the Patriots, who give up 54 points. And then against the Bengals, I wouldn't say this is a terrible defensive performance, because the defense did a lot of good things in this game against the Bengals. That, goal line stand, Shaq Lawson with the game-changing interception. So this wasn't that bad of a defensive game, but they did give up 31 points. But last night is where the defense, you can tell there's a problem right now. And I feel like we're just getting absolutely destroyed all over the field. And the opponents are just taking advantage of the weaknesses that this Jets defense has exposed all season long, and that we cannot defend the screen passes. We cannot defend the underneath routes, because we're such an aggressive, attacking up front defensive line, and it's really disappointing. The biggest thing last night that I noticed is the defensive line just got absolutely demolished from the Colts offensive line. The Colts have one of the best offensive lines in football, and they just absolutely destroyed us every single time, in the run game in particular. The Jets defensive line has been underperforming the past couple of weeks. It's pretty disappointing, because after that dominant performance against the Titans, 7 sacks, the D-line has not been getting the pass rush that we're so used to. Guys like Quinnen, I feel like Quinnen Williams has only been the really consistent guy up front. John Franklin Myers had a really good start to the season. So far, he's not really been doing anything in terms of numbers and disruptiveness so far since he signed that contract. And we just need and CJ Mosley. This is an interesting topic, because CJ Mosley, against the Patriots, he was not playing. So some of us were like, okay, defense, that's a joke. We need not to put up 54 points on us. But CJ Mosley wasn't playing. So maybe that was the reason why, because our leader, the heart and soul of the defense, was not active in that game. So maybe that's why the Jets defense looked so bad. Well, last night, there's zero excuses for the defense, because we were all healthy. CJ Mosley was out there, and we looked really bad. And some devastating news, guys. Marcus May, I'm sure you guys know, he looks like he has a bad Achilles injury, which looks like he'll be missing the remainder of the season. That's just a terrible blow for not only the Jets, but for Marcus May as a person, because when you sign that franchise tag, you are looking out for, a bounce back season, so you can get a long-term deal, whether it's for the Jets or not. And that's just you feel bad for guys like Marcus May. He put a lot of heart and sweat for the New York Jets. So nothing but love to Marcus May for sure. But CJ Mosley, terrible game last night. He has to be held accountable, and it all starts up with him. So now, obviously, we know that the defense looks so bad, but what looked so good last night? And that's the offense, man. We started off the season with a bad offense and a good defense. And now we're halfway through the season, and it flipped. All of a sudden, we have a good offense and a bad defense. So the craziest thing about this offense, guys, Mike LaFleur goes into the booth for the first time. The New York Jets hire John Beck, who is Zach Wilson's personal quarterback coach in the offseason. He goes to him whenever he is not with the Jets. He went with him with the bye week. We all know Robert Saleh. He said, hey, why don't you bring him over here? So now John Beck is on the sidelines. He's another voice for all the quarterbacks. So I think that's a great move from the New York Jets. But ever since Mike LaFleur went to the booth, and we have Mike White as the starting quarterback, this is Mike LaFleur's offense. In the 2 games against the Bengals and the Colts, in 2 games, 997 yards of total offense, 8 touchdowns, 64 points in 2 games. So this is a very good sign. I know that last night was disappointing. I know that we got embarrassed on primetime football, but we have to remember where we were at the beginning of this season. Everyone's questioning Mike LaFleur, including myself. We're like, okay, We hired Mike LaFleur, first-time offensive coordinator. The offense has not been doing anything all season long. We have a rookie quarterback, rookie offensive play call. The execution was not looking good. The wide receivers was not looking good. The running backs, everything was not doing good. If you guys remember, it wasn't just Zach Wilson. Mike Carter got off to a slow start. Elijah Moore got off to a slow start. The entire offense took a little while for it to start to click, and now Mike LaFleur is getting comfortable. He puts in Mike White when Zach Wilson goes down, and all of a sudden you see the offense takes flight, man. It absolutely is this is a very good sign, because for Mike LaFleur to be able to call back-to-back games against two pretty good defenses, the Cincinnati Bengals, we all know about them, top 10 defense. The Colts are not the best defense in the world, but they're definitely no scrub. They got Darius Leonard, DeForest Buckner, and they got a very good defense, in my opinion. And for the Jets to go out there and put up that much points with their backup quarterbacks and their third-string quarterbacks, that's a very good sign for Mike LaFleur. Big, big positive, because if he can really become that offensive mind that we were expecting when we first hired the man, that's a good sign. Because if you remember, like I just said, where we were a couple of weeks ago about Mike LaFleur and where we're thinking about him now, that's a big deal. Because if it was like Mike White and Josh Johnson, they go out there and the offense still stinks and nothing's going well, the execution's poor, then it would be a really bigger deal than it is right now. You know what I'm trying to say? So I just want to remind you guys that I know that we're 2-6. I know it's a bad time right now to be a Jets fan, and the defense has a lot of things to work on. But I'm telling you, for the future, for the grand scheme of things of this entire Jets team, Mike LaFleur to have back-to-back outings like this is a very good sign. Now let's get into Mike White, because Mike White unfortunately went down with an injury last night. And if you combine the stats against the Bengals and the stats last night against the Colts, in 5 quarters of action, Mike White had 79% completion percentage, 500 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions in 5 quarters of action. I think Mike White, if he did not get injured, based on what we saw from Josh Johnson and the entire offense around the quarterback position, I'm really interested to see what Mike White would have done. In 2 drives, he was 7 for 11, 95 yards, and 1 touchdown. So I can only imagine the type of stats he would have put up if he did not get injured. So for Mike White to go out there and look like an absolute poised veteran quarterback that's getting the system, clicking, is a very good sign. And also, you got to give so much credit to our guy, Josh Johnson. Our third-string quarterback comes out there and drops 317 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. It's pretty remarkable that the Jets have a really good quarterback room, man. I know some people are turning this into a negative, like, oh, well, Zach Wilson is not as good as Mike White and Josh Johnson. What's going on? The last thing I'm doing, guys, is looking at this as a negative, like, oh my God, Mike White and Josh Johnson, how come they're doing so well in the system, but Zach Wilson isn't? The answer is pretty simple, man. He's a rookie quarterback, and 95% of rookie quarterbacks in this league struggle. And the reason why Mike White and Josh Johnson are looking good in the system is because they're experienced vets. And no, Mike White has never played in this league before. He had his first ever start, but he's been in the league for 3 years. He learned under Dak Prescott, and he's been with the Jets. He has some NFL mental reps experience in the league. So all I'm trying to say right here, guys, is even though Zach Wilson struggled and these 2 quarterbacks come in, I think that it's also a good example of Mike LaFleur being in the booth. It's also an example of the offense around the quarterback playing well, because the receivers are running crisp routes. The offensive line's doing well. The running back, Michael Carter and Ty Johnson, are looking very good together. So I'm excited to see what Zach Wilson can do when he gets back in there. So that's my thoughts about the quarterback room right now. I think it's a very good sign that we have a backup quarterback in Mike White who is putting up numbers, and even a third-string quarterback, Josh Johnson, because this system looks like it's working. That's a very good sign. And now getting into Elijah Moore, the breakout performance from the rookie wide receiver. This is a very good sign as well, guys. Coming off a slow start to his rookie season, he's coming off back-to-back good outings. In the game against the Bengals, 6 receptions, 67 yards. Last night, 7 receptions, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns, 27.7 PPR points. That's awesome. So Elijah Moore having a breakout game on primetime football is a very good sign. There's so much hype around him going into this season. And even though we got off to a slow start, I always believed in him. I feel like that's what we have to realize. Early in the season, it was hard for this offense with Mike LaFleur and Zach Wilson, Elijah Moore, Michael Carter, all these guys to get in sync, and we're seeing the offense get into rhythm in the middle of the season. I cannot wait to see where it goes for the rest of the year. And then getting into the running back room, man, every single game, they're productive. Michael Carter and Ty Johnson, we have a legit running back tandem with these 2 men. I really have excitement about not only this year, but the future of Michael Carter and Ty Johnson. Even though Carter Bridgewater did not pad his stats last night like he did against the Bengals, he still looks like a guy, when you get the ball in his hands, he can make people miss in the open field with ease. He's a guy that is a good pass blocking back as well, which is a very underrated aspect to being a running back. He finds the open holes. He picks up the extra yards. He's a very reliable back. And then Ty Johnson, he's that typical pass catching back that you need as your running back number 2. He gets in the end zone last night with a really good second effort getting in that touchdown. So, that's really my thoughts, guys, about last night and the overall, state of the New York Jets. Obviously, the negatives is all about the defense. The positives is all about the offense. And, Robert Saleh has a lot of things to work on with his defense, man. It's totally inexcusable what's going on. If you're a defensive-minded head coach and you have, Jeff Ulbrich as your defensive coordinator, they need to be going over film tirelessly and understand what the problem is right now, because we're just getting outworked, we're getting outcoached, and they need to get this together if you want to make some type of, run for just being a competent team. If this offense continues this trend and the offense goes back and for the rest of the year they're consistent, that's a very good sign. Hopefully we can finally get a couple of games where the offense and defense clicks at the same time, because that will be fun to watch. Because if you guys remember, I said it over and over again in this video, beginning of the year, defense was playing very good football. Offense was not. Right now, it's the complete opposite. So maybe this is going to be a time where, okay, the defense went through their adversity. They went through their really good play. Now it's time for them to learn. Offense, they went through their adversity in the beginning of the year. Now they're getting into the rhythm. So hopefully we can see them both click at the same time. We don't know if that's going to happen. I'm hoping at least one of the games in the next couple of weeks that we'll see if that happens, but we will see. So guys, leave a comment down below your thoughts about the video. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll catch you guys in my next one, man. Let's go Jets. Peace.